Whoever you are, wherever you've come from, whatever your beliefs, whomever you love, and however bumpy your life's journey, know that you are welcome here. I want to extend a special welcome to our guest speaker today, Dr. Jamie Derrick. Jamie, you want to say something so that you pop up on their screen?
Hello, everybody. Really nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be part of the beautiful process that this congregation engages in every Sunday.
Thanks, Jamie. So Jamie is a professor of psychology, a licensed clinical psychologist, and the founder and lead mindfulness teacher in the UI Mind mindfulness education program at the University of Idaho. She's been using mindfulness for the last decade as a way to offer healing and wellness locally and across the country, and we're lucky to be able to benefit from some of her wisdom and experience this morning. We're hoping that everyone here has a chalice or a candle you can light and something to light it with. Let's take a moment and light it together. And if you want to hold it up to the screen, you can try that too. As I share some opening words, if you haven't already, if you have access to the chat and haven't already, I'd invite you to check in. And if you're a virtual visitor, please do, as you've been doing, share where you're logging in from. These words are by the Reverend Gretchen Haley. There is enough space between us to hold all that you are carrying, all you've been waking, wondering, worrying, or wearing out with, confusion or attempts to control, trying to find some sense of normal, all of your irritability, your curiosity, your fragile sobriety, your numb disbelief, your loneliness, your exhaustion, your daily questions. Is it allergies or the virus? And your joy, we can hold that too. We can hold all of it here for this time and bless it. Here we will call each other just as we are, beloved. Here in this far apart space that is also close in, so much remains uncertain. With each passing breath, the ground is shifting. All we can say for sure is that we are caught in this tangled blessing of life, of grief and gratitude together. Like always, except more. With all the forces of spring and the spinning of the earth, we are turning and becoming and beginning again. Offering ourselves like the crocus flower, breaking through with a wild beauty, ready for whatever comes next. Come, let us worship together.
soul, in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. In my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. In my soul.
During difficult times, we can take refuge and rest tenderly into our own hearts using practices that extend loving kindness to ourselves and to others. The joys and concerns are an example of this. And there are also meditations that can help us do this. There's one beautiful version of the metta meditation or loving kindness meditation that's been set to music in the UUCP hymnal. The words go like this: may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. For some people, these kinds of phrases feel stiff or unnatural, but most of us can connect to the intention of the phrases. We all want love and wellness and ease. So I'd like us to try doing this meditation practice together. And as we do this, let your mind rest in the phrases. I'm going to say them in a minute. You can be aware of the phrases, and you can also be aware of your own gentle, deep breathing. If any of the words aren't quite right for you, simply insert other words that feel more natural. Or let the words fall away entirely and simply rest in the spirit of the practice. No matter how you do it, you're doing it just the right way. So I invite you now for loving kindness meditation. You might close your eyes if you want to, and place your hand over your heart as a gesture of connection to your own self. And breathe a deep, slow breath. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. So breathe in deeply, and see if the words can settle from your mind down into your heart, absorbing these good wishes into your very being. I'm going to say them again. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. And from this deep connected space inside, feel down deeply, and we'll try another version of this practice that you may like. So these are very simple questions that can be asked anytime. So sense into this. In what ways do I feel well? In what ways am I whole and unbroken and at ease? what helps me come back to my best and true self. Breathing and opening to the answers that rise to the surface of our minds like bubbles on still water. When I listen deeply, I hear the call of what feels like my most essential self. And I feel myself reminding myself to remember what is truly most important. And a few things that come up for me are remembering that I'm nourished when I savor beauty and goodness in the world, that my own stillness becomes a refuge where I can hear my own small voice that whispers deep inside, helping me know what I can do. And when my heart opens wider, more wide sometimes than I imagine it could, when that happens, the world feels like my home again. So the traditional metta practice always starts by extending kind love to ourselves, but it doesn't stop there. It also invites us to remember our fellow beings, creatures, and Mother Earth. So maybe we can take a minute and we can open our hearts wide, large, expansive, and offer boundless loving kindness to the world. So again, settle, hand on your heart, and see if you can bring these phrases deeply into your practice. May all beings, all creatures, and our earth be loved kindly. May all beings and all creatures and our earth stay healthy and well. May all beings, all creatures, and our earth be protected and safe. When I feel the suffering of the world and I feel powerless or impotent to change things, I offer loving kindness outward, and it's a practice that helps me feel just a little bit better. So from my heart to yours, may we all be well in all the ways.
Our reading this morning comes from a book called Self-Compassion, The Proven Power of Being Kind to Yourself by Kristen Neff. The beauty of self-compassion is that instead of replacing negative feelings with positive ones, new positive emotions are generated by embracing the negative ones. The positive emotions of care and connectedness are felt alongside our painful feelings. When we have compassion for ourselves, sunshine and shadow are both experienced simultaneously. This is important, ensuring that the fuel of resistance isn't added to the fire of negativity.
Winds be still, storm clouds pass and silence come. Peace, grace this time with harmony. Fly, bird of hope, and shine, light of love, and in calm let all find tranquility. Bird, fly high, lift our gaze toward distant view, help us to sense life's mystery. Fly high and far, and lead us each to see how we move through the winds of eternity. Light shining, illuminate our inward view, help us to see with clarity. Shine bright and true, so we may join our songs in new songs that become full symphony.
Thank you, everyone, for having me here today. It feels so good to be part of this intentional and caring community, especially now at this time. Today, I want to offer 2 mindfulness tricks to you. They both focus on dealing with overwhelm. Nice extension from Ginger's lovely story to the kids. So my 2 tricks, I've called them pace and pendulum. So let's just start with the first one, pace. On my first day of graduate school, I sat in a big auditorium with a few hundred students listening to a boring speech by a university president. I only remember one thing from that speech, but it's a gem. He said, "You will be surrounded by brilliant minds and vast, interesting opportunities. You will want to do and learn everything. It's going to feel a bit like trying to take a drink from a fire hose." He was right. It did take me a little while to figure that out, but I did learn to heed his message. The message, take it slow or you're going to get hurt. This applies right now too. Our inboxes and our social media feeds are stuffed full of Zoom invitations, offers for free classes, important announcements, virtual tours, limited time subscriptions, wellness tips, and gourmet recipes. I don't know about you, but I increasingly feel annoyed at each new invitation, even when those invitations are offered from generosity. It's just too much. Our minds and bodies and hearts and spirits simply cannot keep up, should not keep up. We can't drink from a fire hose. Not everything that existed as a face-to-face interaction needs to exist online now. A lot can wait, or even just disappear forever. We don't have to sculpt our abs or learn to paint or craft creative ways to teach algebra to our children at home. Answer every email. We're in an international pandemic. For heaven's sakes, we have to give ourselves time just to process that. Little children, toddlers, cope with being overwhelmed by covering their eyes. And as adults, we can do this too. We can ignore things, drop balls, get intimately familiar with our delete button. Maybe the most important lessons and tasks of this moment in history are not the ones that get penciled into our calendars or uploaded to Google Docs. So the takeaway, don't try to drink from a fire hose. Trust me, it will tear your lips off. Trick 2, the pendulum. I want you to bring to mind the visual image of a metronome or a pendulum, this dynamic object moving back and forth. A swing to the left, from the right, and back again. Our minds need to be this dynamic. We need to know how to pendulum. When we feel overwhelmed, it's possible to pendulum our attention from one thing to another. We can lift our eyes and turn our focus to include what is right in the world, what is beautiful in our lives. And I don't mean this as denial or some sappy, sugar-coated bypassing of reality. The world and our lives, even now, are speckled with beauty, and we can renew our hearts and minds by penduluming towards the small, true, beautiful things, even in small moments. So we can look at, smell, touch the beauty of nature. The daffodils and the tulips are pressing up through the soils right now. We can embrace our animals and feel the heartbeat of unconditional love. We can savor our food, its color, taste, and texture. We can drink in the smiles and the gentle words of our loved ones. We can absorb the colorful hues of a hand-sewn, tie-dyed face mask. So look around right now where you are and notice one lovely thing that you can see right in this moment. So mindfulness urges us to focus toward what is helpful, supportive, and compassionate. We can do this in teaspoons, teaspoonfuls, and we must do this in all the ways we can remember. So I leave you with these 2 tricks: pace and pendulum. Don't drink from a fire hose, and infuse your routines with beauty. My hope is that as we scrape through all of this, we can help each other remember what is important. And a little pacing and a little penduluming just might help.
I'll share this brief closing reading by poet David White. It's called Enough. Enough. These few words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, this sitting here, this opening to the life we have refused again and again until now. Until now. Beloveds, we miss each other. I love you, but keep breathing, keep penduluming, manage your pace. Don't try to drink from the fire hose. And trust the wisdom that lives deep in your heart. It won't steer you wrong. I miss you. I love you. Go in peace.